Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kaylee and these are my books. So today's video is a thriller reading vlog. There were basically 3 thrillers that were on my TBR this month. I wanted to read them this month and I figured I would read them all back to back. That way I could give you a fun themed reading vlog where it's all dedicated to me expressing my thoughts about these thrillers. So the 3 thrillers that I will be reading for this vlog are Ruth Ware's The It Girl, Megan Miranda's The Perfect Stranger, and one other thriller I don't own, but I will be reading it through audio, which is Alice Feeney's His and Hers. So Ruth Ware's The It Girl is probably the one I'm most excited to read for this video because I've read all of Ruth Ware's books. This is her newest release and I really want to read it because I love Ruth Ware. All of her books have been anywhere from 3 to 5 stars, so I really enjoyed her books. And this book is actually about a college. A murder happens at this college. A person gets convicted for this murder, but perhaps they are not the person who committed the murder. So basically this has the before the murder plot and the after the murder plot. And before the murder, we follow this group of pretentious friends as they are experiencing their first year at college. And then after the murder, it's set a couple of years after, and we follow one of the girls in the friend group starting to doubt her perception of events back then. And the murder happens in the prologue in this book, so the murder is not like a twist or anything. We know the murder happens right at the beginning, and we're just questioning how the murder happened, who committed the murder, and the details around this murder. Megan Miranda's The Perfect Stranger I honestly bought just because of the cover. I bought this in a library sale for 50 cents, and so I was like, it's pretty, I will buy it. But the premise to this book is we follow a teacher. A woman in this teacher's town that she lives in gets brutally attacked. There's the question of who attacked this woman. And then the teacher's roommate also goes missing. So the police are looking into these 2 different crimes. However, perhaps they are connected. Everybody has secrets in this book. We're following this small town where everyone knows each other. And there's actually a bit of a school setting in this too because the main girl is a teacher, so we follow her at her school. And then His and Hers by Alice Feeney. I'm reading this book because I absolutely adored Alice Feeney's Daisy Darker and Rock, Paper, Scissors. Those are both some of my favorite thrillers ever, but those are the only books I've read from Alice Feeney. So I wanted to explore her backlist a little bit, and His and Hers was readily available from the library, so I thought this would be a good one to start with. In this book, we follow 3 different points of views. We follow his point of view, her point of view, and the murderer's point of view. So the his point of view in this story is a cop. The her point of view is a journalist, and they used to be married, and basically it's just following them after in their town a woman's body gets discovered who happens to be a mutual friend of both of them. So they're both investigating their mutual friend's murder, one from a journalist's perspective and one from a cop's perspective. In terms of excitement, I'm definitely, like I said, the most excited for Ruth Ware's It Girl, then Alice Feeney's book, and at the bottom, Megan Miranda's book, just because I've read one book from Megan Miranda, but I don't remember a ton of it. It was pretty forgettable, and I haven't heard the best things about Megan Miranda, but her covers are so pretty. But let's cut to me actually reading these books. I am 120 pages into Ruth Ware's The It Girl. I forgot what the name was for a second. And I'm loving it so much so far. Like, loving it. So I didn't realize that the school setting was such a big part of this book. I knew it had a college setting, but like the college setting so far in the first 120 pages is probably like 75% of what I've read so far, and it's just the vibes are immaculate. I mean, it's a perfect read so far for September, and it's creepy, it's pretentious, it's giving the dark academia vibes, not just school setting vibes. And I mean, there's people I'm suspicious of. There's a bunch of rich people. There's this girl who feels like she doesn't fit in with all these rich, crazy people, but is trying her best. It's so good. It's so freaking good so far. It's feeling a lot like The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell, mashed up with In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, mashed up with the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. So if you like any of those books, for sure check out this Ruth Ware book. Now, I like Ruth Ware a lot. She's one of my favorite thriller authors. So I like her new releases, especially. I loved One by One. I loved The Turn of the Key, and I liked her backlist. However, I feel like even if you don't like Ruth Ware, so far, I'm only 120 pages in, but so far, I think that you should give this book a shot because it doesn't feel like Ruth Ware's writing to me. It really feels like it's the book cousin of In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. So I'm having a great time with it. I'm hoping to get another large chunk of it read today. I don't have a lot of plans today. Today's Tuesday. I only teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I do need to prepare for my classes tomorrow, but for most of the day, I can just spend the day reading. However, I also started season 4, I think it is, either season 3 or season 4, the newest season of Glow, which is a makeup reality competition show on Netflix, and I freaking love that show so much, so I am feeling the urge to binge a couple episodes, so we'll see how much reading actually gets done. But I just wanted to update you, let you know I'm 120 pages into The It Girl and I'm enjoying it so much so far. My dishwasher is so loud, so I'm gonna try to do this update fast. I am on page like 250 of The It Girl and I'm loving it so much still. I feel like I know what's going on though. I'm curious to see if I'm correct. Even if I end up predicting the final twist, I'm still enjoying it so much that it's going to get a high rating. Right now it's feeling like somewhere in between a 4 and a 5 star, so we'll see how it ends, but I'm having a great time reading this book. I just went on campus today because I was teaching my class and that went really well. And now I'm back home and I just want to sit down and finish The It Girl today because it's so good. It's so good. It doesn't feel like Ruth Ware, which is interesting because I've read all of Ruth Ware's books, but this doesn't feel like Ruth Ware to me. I'm still really enjoying it, but I would recommend this book at least at this point for people that even don't like Ruth Ware's other works because it feels so different from her other books to me. But yeah, sorry if you can hear the dishwasher. I needed to do dishes so bad. It was disgusting. And you know, I live alone, so sometimes chores get hard to do because I'm just doing them for myself, not for anybody else. When I live with a roommate, I'm the cleanest person ever. When I live alone, I am a bit messy. So I'm glad I did the dishes finally, like thank God. But I'm resisting the urge to watch more Glow too. I watched a lot of Glow yesterday, a lot. I think I'm on episode like 6 and I'd started it yesterday, so that's like 6 hours of Glow. I really want to watch more of it right now, but I think I want to finish my book more, so I'm gonna read The It Girl, or I'll update you when I finish. It's still the same day. It's not even that much later than when I last updated you. I just changed into comfier clothes. I have my Hercules shirt on that I love. If I could show Hercules himself, there he is, the Pegasus. Amazing. But anyways, I finished my book. I finished The It Girl by Ruth Ware, and I'm giving it 4 stars. So I really enjoyed this book. I was thoroughly entertained the entire time. Do I think it could have been shorter? This is a long thriller, 420 pages. Yes, I do think it could have been shorter. But does that bother me? Not that much. So that's just like a slight criticism because I did enjoy it the whole time. However, I do think some people will struggle with parts of it because there are some parts that are slower paced. This feels very atmospheric in the past timeline because again, we have a past timeline where it's set at the school and a present timeline where it's set after the school and after the murder has happened. And we know the murder happens because that's how this book starts. So that's not me giving anything away. We know a girl gets murdered at this school. So basically we get the before and the after. And the before section is much more heavily present in the first half of this book, with the after section being much more heavily present in the last half. That makes sense in terms of how the plot is structured, and also before happening first, after happening after. But it's not as straightforward as first half versus second half, because we do flip back and forth throughout the different point of views throughout the story. And by point of views, I mean the different time settings. So ultimately, what really worked well for me in this book was the school setting and how atmospheric the school setting was. I really felt like I was at this rich, pretentious school watching these rich kids make bad decisions, and it was so dramatic and so entertaining. The drama was so fun to read about. And we just had that edge of danger to everything that they were doing. I was constantly on edge, not knowing how far they were going to take stuff. And I mentioned earlier that I'm afraid I know what's going on. I did not know what was going on. The twist did surprise me. And so I didn't find this predictable. Everyone feels suspicious in this book. So will some people find it predictable? Maybe, but for me, it was not predictable. My main theory was not correct. The reason why this book didn't get 5 stars and instead got 4 stars, I want to reiterate, 4 stars is really, really good still, okay? I really enjoyed this. But the reason why it didn't get 5 stars, is there were some things I was hoping were going to lead to a reveal because they were repetitive to read about, and I was hoping there was some sort of reason why it was in the book and why this repetitive nature of this thing being mentioned over and over, I was hoping was going to lead to some interesting reveal at the end. It did not. So I'm being super vague here because I don't want to spoil anything. But there were just some loose ends that I wanted tied up that were never tied up. There were 2 main issues I had, and if you are curious what those are, you can message me and I'll let you know. But there were 2 main things that didn't get tied up that I wanted to see tied up, and if those had been tied up or if they had been more central to the plot, it would have gotten 5 stars, this book. So ultimately, this is a very, very fun book. I recommend it for fans of In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, or The Night She Disappeared, or the Truly Devious series. If you like any of those pretentious, rich school thriller books, I think you should give this one a shot. Now, the next book I'm going to read, I just got the audiobook for His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Luckily, my library had a copy available. I didn't have to go on a wait list for it. So I'm gonna listen to that for a bit because I'm kind of tired. I always get so tired after I teach, even though it's only a 50-minute class that I teach, but I get home and I'm like exhausted. So I might just listen to an audiobook and lay down for a little bit. But if I end up reading anything physically, I am going to be picking up this book next, The Perfect Stranger. Don't know anything about this. I know at the beginning of the video I probably told you a synopsis. I have not filmed the beginning of the video yet because I don't like reading synopses of books before I go into them, especially thrillers, because sometimes thriller summaries, like on the back of the book, will give stuff away. And so I am assuming it's a domestic thriller based off of the title. Who knows? We'll find out. I'll update you on whether or not I end up starting His and Hers or The Perfect Stranger. I'm 30% of the way through His and Hers by Alice Feeney, and I am enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, I just don't care about this relationship. At least they're not currently married. I just get so bored sometimes in thrillers that it's mostly about a married relationship, because most of the time I always am just like, why is this couple together? Like, why are they married? This makes no sense. They obviously hate each other. Why are they married? It always annoys me. But in this, they're exes. They got divorced. So I am enjoying it. It's just a bit of a red flag. I mean, I knew going in, it's called His and Hers. Like, I knew it had to be about a marriage of some sort. We do get these weird murderer point of views. I'm listening to the audiobook, as you can tell from the AirPods, and so there's the his chapters, the her chapters, and then the murderer chapters. And the murderer chapters in the audiobook are so creepy. Like, they have like this weird voice thing going on for the murderer, and I'm really intrigued on what's going on. So far, a body turned up, and his perspective, the ex-husband, is a police officer. The her perspective, the ex-wife, is a news reporter, and so they're both kind of investigating this body that turned up in the woods, but it's a mutual friend of both of those, the body that turned up in the woods. And the murderer perspective is like, obviously I'm assuming the person who murdered this body that turned up in the woods, it's a body of a woman. I have no clue what's going on. Like, I have no theories at all. There is a lot of really hard to read stuff about dementia in her perspective. So the ex-wife's perspective, she has a mom who's going through dementia and just having a really tough time taking care of her. And that is like really not fun to read about. Of course, it's well done in the book. It's kind of depressing me. But overall, like I said, I'm enjoying the book. I'm not obsessed with the book. I just have no clue what's going on. So I'm intrigued to keep reading. I will say, though, that I do wish we had a little bit more intrigue at this point. I mean, I'm 30% of the way through. I wish there was a couple more threads given than we have gotten. Because really, I mean, it's just a body has showed up and we don't know anything about this body. So I wish we knew a little bit more at this point, just so that I would care more about the story, because right now this is just a random body, so I'm like, I don't really care what's going on with it. I want to find out what's going on with it to continue reading, but I have no emotional attachment to find out what's going on. Hopefully that makes sense. I just want a little bit more than it's giving so far, so I'm hoping in the next 20% that I listen to, so definitely before the halfway point, Alice Feeney gives us a couple more threads that we can pull on. Little reading update, because I'm about to go to sleep. I'm so freaking tired. But I got to 80% in His and Hers by Alice Feeney. It's fine. I'm not loving it as much as I wanted to, which is disappointing. I absolutely love Daisy Darker and Rock, Paper, Scissors, but His and Hers is just, it's not hitting the same way. There's not the same atmosphere that Rock, Paper, Scissors had, and there's not the same creativity, innovative twists that Daisy Darker has. Daisy Darker also had a fun atmosphere, where this is just much more domestic thriller. Which is fine. I just feel like I've read this story a million times before, and nothing, the story does do things in a new way, so don't get me wrong. If you're a domestic thriller fan, I think you might like this. Rock, Paper, Scissors working for me is unique for domestic thrillers. I don't know. A lot of domestic thrillers end up feeling like His and Hers for me, where they're fine. You know, I don't regret reading them. I usually end up reading them in one sitting, and they usually get 3 stars. So it was fine. It was an enjoyable time while it lasted, but I will never think about it again type of book, you know. And so I thought Alice Feeney's version of domestic thrillers was something above and beyond the usual, in my opinion. But His and Hers, perhaps, is just an average domestic thriller for me. I do like the school scenes that we get, the past scenes. The present scenes I don't like as much, because I feel like a lot of the characters are making decisions that I don't understand. And again, these characters don't have to be smart for me to enjoy the book. I just want to understand their motivations for behind doing what they're doing. And it seems like a lot of these characters are lying or withholding information just for the plot, and not necessarily for any particular motivation that makes sense for their characters. That's kind of been annoying me throughout this book. I still have 20% left. Alice Feeney loves a big twist moment, so I'm hoping we get that big twist moment in this book. And I could, you know, change what I think, but so far it's feeling just like an average 3-star book. And then I got to page 80 in The Perfect Stranger, and this is feeling very similar, where so far, I mean, I'm way less far in this book, you could see. And so far, it just feels fine. I'm going to read it. It's a very quick read. I got to page 80 with not much time of actually reading it. And it has a lot of similarities to His and Hers, actually. And maybe that's why both of these books are feeling a bit meh, because I'm reading them at the same time, and it almost feels like I'm reading the same story, just slightly different. It's like they're book cousins. And so neither story is feeling very unique to me, because I'm reading literally 2 different versions of the same story. Things could change in The Perfect Stranger, though. I'm only on page 80, but I just wanted to update you before I go to bed that both of the books I'm currently reading are just feeling fine. Nothing special, nothing offensive. They're just fine. But now, Teddy and I are going to bed because we're tired. Hello, it is the next morning. Teddy is in his usual position. I mean, look at those teeth. But I finished His and Hers audiobook for this morning. I was listening to it a little bit last night in bed, and then I just finished it up real quick this morning. I really enjoyed this. I'm giving it 4 stars. So I was getting nervous while I was reading it because the more I got into it, the more I was like, this just feels like a basic domestic thriller. This is just like a basic crime fiction. It's kind of a fusion between crime fiction and domestic thriller. And then the twist happened, and Alice Feeney, I'm sorry for doubting you. The twist was so good. Alice Feeney is the queen of a good twist. Like, I didn't see this one coming. It was fun, it was ridiculous, it was wild. The end was so fast paced. Like, it was a really, really fun time in the last, like, 30-ish%, maybe last 25%. But because my enjoyment throughout the book wasn't, like, a super good time up until that, I didn't dislike it. I was just like, okay, I've read this before, it's okay. Because the first, like, 60 to 70% felt kind of basic. Not bad, but just like 3 stars. But then the end was like a 5-star read. So I'm gonna average it out to be a 4-star because overall my feelings about this book are pretty positive. The twist was so much fun. The end was so crazy. Like, I kept getting whiplash on what was happening in a good way. This is a book I do wish I owned it physically because it was the kind of book that was making me want to go back and reread certain scenes after a reveal would take place to be like, wait a second, where were the clues? And I know the clues are there, you know, I just want to go back and like see them all happening. So I really enjoyed the audiobook though, because the voice for the murderer throughout this book was really fun, where it had like a voice distortion. And I did get used to it where I didn't have to switch between 3 times speed and 2 times speed for that voice. I was able to start listening to it at 3 times speed throughout the entire book, even with the voice distortion. So I think the audiobook is good. I wish I had the audiobook to listen to it and the physical book to follow along so I could pause the audiobook and go back with my eyes and read the physical stuff that was happening in the past now that I knew more information about it. So overall, I do recommend this book. It is the weakest Alice Feeney I've read because her other books got 4.5 and 5 stars from me. However, I still really, really enjoyed this book. So I would recommend it if you like Rock, Paper, Scissors or Daisy Darker. This feels different than both of them, but just it's similar in that it has a big twist in it. So now I am going to pick up The Perfect Stranger. I haven't read anymore. I'm still at page about 80. So I'm hoping to start liking this book a little bit more. It's sitting on the edge of a DNF because I just don't really care about what's happening so far. But I think I'm gonna give it a solid 150 pages because it is a quick read, so that isn't too much of a time investment for me. And then I will reevaluate at page 150 and see if more stuff has happened. Because sometimes for thrillers, it does take a little bit to get started, and then once it's started, it's really good. But because the first 80 pages weren't that entertaining for me, no matter what happens in the last part of this book, it's not going to be a 5-star. Hello, me again on the couch. It hasn't been that long since I last updated you, but I wanted to let you know that I am on page 100 of I am on page 200 of The Perfect Stranger, so I made it past the point that I was going to potentially DNF it at, only because I have the audiobook now. It was available on the library app, so I just downloaded it for free and I'm listening to it while I play some stupid games on my phone. If I didn't have the audiobook, I think I would have ended up DNFing it. I'm just not really interested in what's going on because there's not much going on. And, you know, with thrillers, I'm sure there'll be some big reveals at the end that will make it a bit more entertaining. But I'm 200 pages into the book right now and still not much is happening. It's very much just a slow thriller. I wouldn't even say it's a thriller because nothing is super thrilling. It's almost more like a contemporary at this point. We have a missing girl. We have a woman who has been attacked and is in the hospital. And that's really it. The main character is just trying to figure out what's going on, but she has figured nothing out. Absolutely nothing. Has made no progress towards anything in the book. That's the issue. Like, no progress has been made. We still are just seeing these characters kind of flounder around, not knowing what to do. And I don't really care about any of the characters. Like, maybe this story could work if it was more character focused, and therefore reading about these characters without many thrilling things happening would still be entertaining because you care about the characters. But I don't care about the characters. I feel no connection to these characters. So for there to not be character connection and not much plot happening, this book is just not offering a lot to me right now. I am going to finish it just because I have the audiobook, and listening to it on 3 times speed makes the last like 100 pages go by really fast. So I probably will just update you with my official outro for the vlog to let you know what I thought, because basically, my plans for the day are just to sit on this couch, play more games with my phone, listen to the audiobook, and then I'm gonna get ready because I have a bunch of videos I want to film today. So next time you see me, I should be looking a little bit different. All right, hello, welcome to the end of the vlog. I have read all of the 3 thrillers that I was going to read for this vlog. A little wrap up, I did end up finishing the audio for The Perfect Stranger. I didn't like it. I finished it just because I was really into this game on my phone, and so I was like, I might as well listen to it while I play this game on my phone. But as I mentioned in an earlier clip, if I didn't have the audiobook, I would have DNF'd it. I was just so bored, and I stayed bored throughout the ending as well. Oftentimes in thrillers, you know, the end is really action-packed. I didn't feel that way for this book. Of course, we do get some twists, we do get some reveals, but it was just boring for me. I'm giving this 2 stars because at the end of the day, I did read it really quickly. And so I don't want to give it 1 star. It offered me a very small amount of entertainment, so it wasn't a complete fail, but it's definitely not higher than 2 stars. And just for context, I was debating between 1 and 2 star for this book. I'm going with 2, but it is nowhere close to a 3 star. So we ended the video with 2 4 stars. We got Ruth Wears the It Girl and Alice Feeney's His and Hers, both sitting at a 4, and a 2 star, The Perfect Stranger. So 2 hits, 1 miss, not terrible. And I do want to say though that while Ruth Wears It Girl and Alice Feeney's His and Hers were both 4 stars, I do like the It Girl a bit more. Let me know down in the comments what thrillers you all have been reading recently. If you've read any of these books, I'd be curious to see if you agree with me or disagree with me. And if you have any thrillers you think I should read next, let me know. I would love to do another thriller reading vlog because thrillers are so much fun and they're so quick for me to read that these vlogs, I mean, I think I read all 3 of these books in 2 days. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give me a like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!